Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are going to talk about momming your own way. So everybody moms differently, parents differently, but like we were talking about this because I would say that I'm more of the, what do they call them? The free range parents. That's what it is. Free range parents.
Just like everywhere.
Yeah, and like I'm very much like natural consequences. Like, well, he's standing on his bike. Well, he's gonna fall off it, and he's gonna learn today. And then
that is so true because like I remember when I first met you, and we'd go to the park, and like one of the babies would just be like walking across something, and I'm like, oh my god, are you gonna go get him? And you're like, no. He'll learn if he falls off.
But like, I'm also not like negligent, right? Like if they're doing something that's like clearly dangerous, and if they fall and like it won't be okay,
right?
Like we're not. I mean, I'm not there. Like,
but where I was more helicopter parent, and still a little bit am, where I'm like, all the whole like I hate the way playgrounds are set up. I'm always like, this was definitely made by a man. Not saying like anything about men, but like, you know, someone who doesn't have kids made this because there's like an opening here, death trap here, death trap over here. 5 openings over there. I can't be in all those places.
I can't be in all the places at once.
I gotta choose which is gonna be the deadliest.
Well, and sometimes you can't go under them, so then you're like having to run around, and then you know by the time you've gotten over there, your kid's fallen. So, yeah. But before we get too far, I wanted to do a check-in and see how you're doing today, this week, this month.
I'm doing okay. My anxiety is still a little bit crazy, but I have been going to my therapist. Went to 2 so far. Good. So that's been good, and got on some different anxiety meds. So I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm on the Hot Mess Express today. I would be the driver of that as well.
Beep, beep.
So I am notorious for overcommitting because I really don't like to disappoint people.
Right.
And so my mom is coming today. We needed to get a podcast done, so here I am. I was supposed to pick up vegetables for a barbecue later to celebrate my birthday with my parents. And then my dad wanted to lay tile this morning.
That's a lot.
Wait,
it's only like
I also had a therapy appointment at 9.
Holy shit.
And this is a new therapist. So we're talking about brain spotting, which is super intriguing. We can maybe hit on that a different day when we talk more about mental health. But she's a new therapist, so I had to do like my intake appointment via, but it was video feed, right? So it was fine, and I threw some cereal at the kids, like they were okay. And my husband and my dad did tile. And then as I was like running over here, thank God Nicole let me push us an hour and a half. So we're a little late, but and I was like, hey husband, I need you to go pick up these vegetables and figure out the rest of this because I got stuff to do. Like a podcast.
That's a lot. It's not even, it's 11:30 in the morning.
I know. So
and you've already done all those things.
It was funny because I was thinking about like, oh, what am I talking during your check-in? And I was like, well, I have 497 things I could talk about.
Tabs open.
And so remember last week when we talked about boundaries and we were like, hey, like time boundaries and like trying to speak up and like being respectful of your own time. Like I definitely failed at that this morning, but I did recognize that.
Yeah.
So like step 1, right? Like in recognizing that, hey, you have to be a little bit more mindful of like not overcommitting yourself because then what ends up happening is like you really do end up disappointing people.
Right. And then you feel like you're not doing things 100%.
Right.
Because you've got so many things going on that you can't commit 100% to 7 different things.
Absolutely.
And kids. I mean, you've got 3 kids.
And kids.
So it's like, that's a lot.
But so that is why I messaged you and was like, hey, can we push this? Because like things are just chaos. And so like I recognized it right then.
Already all week, I would have been like,
let's do it a different day.
Let's just do it a different day, but we suck getting these out.
Okay, listen, it's the first week of homeschool, virtual school, schooling. So like things have been chaotic and like not gonna lie, we had time last night, but we definitely took it as a moment to just like breathe and spend some time with our husbands and our friends and like just have a minute. So I
feel like our listeners totally get it. You guys
hope so.
all understand that we're not perfect and we're not going to get these out every Tuesday or Thursday.
We would love to.
I mean, we'd love in a perfect world, but
there's also a stain in my shirt.
Whatever,
so that's where I'm at. Like
your microphone is literally hiding it. You're good. I mean, if you're watching us on YouTube,
I don't even know that you could see it on YouTube.
If you're just listening to us, they have no idea.
Right, it's true that. I mean, I just busted myself out. But I'm just saying, it's okay if you show up with a stained shirt, frantic as heck, and needing all the coffee, because That's me today. I'm
yep,
you.
that
We're
is,
together.
I feel like that's just a normal thing. And if you don't think it's normal, girl, it's normal.
Yeah. I got some peanut butter under my shirt.
That was under your boob. No one would have even seen that. Anyways, so I'm gonna
get back to momming
because we kind of just jumped in. So welcome to Laurel and Fig.
Oh yeah, I didn't even welcome us. Told you guys, Hot Mess Express.
Welcome to Laurel and Fig, episode 5.
I know, we're like cruising. I'm real proud of us.
I can't believe we're on episode 5. So our topic today is Mom Your Own Way.
I'm not singing it again.
We'll just cue it. No, just kidding. Alicia's been singing it. But we are going to talk about how we're just very, like, me and you are best friends, and we're totally different moms.
Yeah.
But
I have other friends in my group that are completely different moms. Mom is her parenting styles and how they interact with their kids and the things that are important, but like we can all still support each other.
Exactly. And that's the key of today's podcast, is to just be able to support all the different kinds of moms that you may be. We also have a sponsor. Ooh. So we're going to talk about Mud Love, which is like one of our favorite bracelets.
I have mine on today. Sorry, I can't tell. You can't see it if you're not obviously watching us on YouTube.
Yeah.
But we have these cute little
you should
bracelets.
And you should go subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Just throwing it out there.
Throwing it out there. Anyways, Mud Love is a really amazing company.
Yeah.
So they're kind of a smaller company. Everything is like handmade, and every time you buy a bracelet, they give clean water, like a week of clean water to a country that needs it.
Yep.
It's really incredible. And so,
and even more than that, they have some other bracelets that are made of yarn that are made by women in the Dominican Republic. So it gives them an opportunity to be able to provide for their family while still being able to be home with their kids and like do all the domestic things that they're required to do as well, just because that is their situations. So I love that I'm able to support other moms too, which I think is great.
And even all the bracelets are made.
The regular ones,
yeah, the regular ones are put together by stay-at-home moms, which
awesome.
I think is really, really cool. It's just giving so many different people opportunities. They're an incredible company. Yeah. We love them. We actually have a bunch of their bracelets between the two of us. It's kind of one of my things where, like, if someone is struggling, like a friend is struggling, I will send them one of the Mud Love bracelets because I just love the reminders. They like one that I wear all the time is Breathe. Because I need to remember, like, take a second, breathe. What's one of your favorites?
I really like the Today one. Which we used to have in the Post-partum box. And so it was, like, just focusing on today, which for me, who overcommits to all the things, it's really important to remind me to, like, hey, like, it's okay to just stay in today. Like, you don't need to plan out next week. You don't need to plan out tomorrow, girl. You could just do today.
Yes. We also have our own, personal one that with our beautiful design on it.
Yep, that's what I'm wearing today.
Yes, which I love that we were able to do that. So we love them. We also have some mugs coming from them that say Laurel and Fig on them.
And they're their new
excited.
glazed ones. So there's like 16 colors, I think.
Yes.
I got marigold, which is like this really beautiful yellow, and I'm really excited about it.
I got like the plum or something.
Yeah, you got plum. Ooh. They have like some really beautiful like jade colored ones and some grays and some reds. Like
we should probably mention that they're like a pottery company.
Yeah. So they're made from clay. Sorry, my bad. I guess I kind of assumed like mud, clay.
Love.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So they're all ceramic stuff, which is really cool. And then on the mug, it has ours say Laurel and Fig.
Yes.
But you could put like any word you wanted on it.
Yeah, you could put be still or today or
breathe.
Breathe or strength or just anything. So yeah, we love them and we love supporting them.
Yeah,
so
we're big fans.
Okay, should we get back on to our Mom Your Own Way?
The things we wanted to talk about, the idea that everyone mothers differently, and this is definitely inspired by a good friend of ours, January Hershey. She does the Hershey podcast, Birth Without Fear. I mean, she does a ton of stuff. She's amazing. Look her up on Instagram and all that good stuff. But she has a quote that says, she found when she mothered her own way, she mothered her best way, which I think is so accurate, because you could compare yourself to every other mom you know, and you're going to feel like you're found not wanting, right? Like that you're
missing, you're not doing everything that you should be for your kid, and it's like, no, you don't have to do every single thing that someone else is doing.
Absolutely.
You know.
And we've talked about this too, that like I have a friend who's very, very crafty, and I'm like, I'm crafty, but she's like crafty. Like she's busting out the crafts like every day with her kids.
But that's like her thing.
But that's her thing, right? Whereas like we have another friend who their thing is like outdoor stuff, like hiking and like camping and doing all that stuff and fishing. And again, I like those things, but like that's not like our thing.
Right.
And so I think you know, I could be disappointed, like we don't do those things, or I can really be like, okay, well, what do we do? Right. Well, we make a lot of messes. And I know that sounds silly, but like, I'm the person who's like, yeah, you're fully dressed. Like, let's go jump in the lake. It's fine.
You also make a lot of slime.
Yeah, we do make a lot of slime.
You are daring. I am not. Slime is not allowed in my house after my son woke up with slime in his hair and we had to literally like cut his hair off.
Oh, the rules are tight though. Like at the table, only at the table. If it leaves the table, it's banned for the rest of the week. Like
yeah, I mean, so like you do a lot of experiments.
Yeah, we do a lot of like sciencey stuff and like messy stuff. Like let's mix all the colors together and see what happens. And like also very like impromptu things. Like let's get a hedgehog.
Yeah.
I got a hedgehog, by the way. Because, you know, we needed a classroom pet for homeschooling. I don't know. But see, like, random stuff, right? Like, we're just random and unplanned. And, like, that's okay. Because, like, when we come over to our friend's house who does, like, all the crafts, my kids get to do crafts. And when we hang out with the mom who does all the hiking, like, we get to do hiking. So it all does work out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I mean, I like do crafts too, but like it's like painting outside.
Yeah.
You know, kind of stuff like that. Whereas like I could look at your Instagram or your Facebook and be like, man, she's doing experiments today. Right. She's doing slime. I don't do that stuff. But I'm like, I will send them to Alesha's house
and they can
do that
and
stuff.
I'm like, hey, you know what? When my kids are outside at Nicole's house, they got to paint with chalk outside and they thought it was the greatest thing ever. Or she'll literally just roll out a thing of paper and be like, go to town.
Go crazy.
And I'm like, it's great.
I do a lot of painting with my kids, and my husband does not. He hates painting with the kids, and so like that is something that I do. Like I do arts and crafts with them, and he does like other things. You know what I mean?
Because like the physical stuff, maybe.
Yeah,
is that more his jam?
I mean, yeah, he likes to watch like Coyote Peterson and Wilderness or whatever.
Like
so like they watch a lot of like animal shows and stuff, and I'm not into that. So like it's perfect. Not your jam. You know?
Yeah, it works out.
But
balance.
Yeah, it's just all about balance.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And I think too, like that reminder that like I'm transitioning here, as time goes on, like your style is going to change. And as long as you maintain some form of balance, like I think it all works out.
Yes. This makes me think of when I had Charlie, so my second. I literally made a post that was like, because I was like all into Pinterest stuff then,
God,
remember?
Yeah.
Like I was doing like Pinterest activities with Sam like every other day. That was my jam. And I literally made, because I was going to do a blog on momming, and I was like, I'm going to talk about why I love being a Pinterest mom. What a joke. Anyways, I mean, so I'm not saying anything against Pinterest moms, because I was one. Like, I get
Which is not anymore. Not if you have a second kid
when I had the second kid, like, and then I developed postpartum anxiety, and it was too much. It was too much trying to keep up with what I was doing with one kid.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I had to transition. My expectations changed.
Yep.
I had a baby and a crazy toddler, and I wasn't going to be doing Pinterest activities anymore, and that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like, again, that reminder, every time you add a child, like, things are going to change.
Gosh, yes.
So there's this like saying quote that's out there that's like, no two babies are born into the same family.
Yes.
And like, how true is that, right? Like, when the time I had my first kid, right, we were all like, oh, we have all the time in the world for you. Yeah. Like, look at her, she just crawled across the room and she lifted her hand up, like, how cute. And like, by the time I got the third one, I read this the other day, it was like, by the time you get to your third kid or your second kid even, you're like, where's the baby? Like, that's all day long.
You.
All the time. All the time.
You'll be like, are you still in here?
Are you still alive? Right. Because like my kids are so independent, which is great, but like some days like I'm just like, thank God, because I only have 2 hands and 2 eyeballs. Like, I can't watch you all at the same time. So as long as I can get a verbal confirmation that you're in the room and you're alive, gosh, I sound like such a negligent mom.
No, you don't though. Like, it's honestly made me, like, being your friend, it's made me be more calm about things. You know what I mean? Because, like, I used to be, like, so OCD about everything and, like, where my kid was at all time. And I was, like, hovering over them all the time. And now I can be like, you're fine. It's fine. Just go play in the backyard. It's fine, you know?
Oh, I know. Now that we have a fence, like,
bye.
I'm like, see you later. You good? Bye.
It is good being friends with different kinds of parenting styles, though, if you can jive together. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes parenting styles are too extreme and too different where you're like, you know what? That doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really hard to be around.
I'm not sure if I could be really good friends with somebody who just never disciplined their kid.
Right.
I think that does work for some people, right? Some people can actively like parent like that and still have success. But I think sometimes people parent like that and it doesn't work. Like their kid maybe acts out more than like I would like my kids to act out. So then like
they're like hitting your kid and no one's saying anything.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Why is nobody saying anything?
Discipline this kid? Like this isn't my kid. It's such a hard balance.
Yeah.
That is very, very hard. What I like about like our styles too is we're really open about like, man, my kid's being a total ass today.
Right. You better get him.
Yeah. Sam is very emotional. You know that. And you know that about him though. So when he like has a tantrum and I'm like, I'm going to take him over here for a second. And like, I mean, I still worry. I'm like, oh gosh, is Alesha going to think I'm like a crazy person because my kid is such a DICK. But I also know that like I don't have to worry about that with you because you just know.
Right.
And I can say he's being a jerk.
Right.
I hate when parents are like, he's so great, he never does this. It's like, dude, yes he does. Every single time he's here, he's like that.
Right.
Like it's okay to admit that.
It's all right. Sometimes kids have big feelings and it's hard for them and like that's okay. And sometimes like even as a parent, I'm not very good at handling my feelings or their feelings.
Right.
And again, that's okay.
Yeah.
So if you can give like the other moms in your life that grace, and you know what else I think is really great too about our friendship, and I hope like you guys have friends like this too, is that like if my, you know, one of my kids is acting out or having a moment or I need to pull them aside or whatever, I know that I can like focus on that one kid and that you will then divide your attention to my other kids. So like I know that like they're still being kept like and there's still an eye on them. Like it's not like if I'm like your kids are your kids and my kids are my kids and like we're not helping
they're
each
just
other.
all
like,
together.
Yeah.
We're a tribe of children.
We have a village of many.
Yes.
But I do think that's important and I'm a big believer in that, like it takes in the idea that it takes a village. And so like I do hope that like if my kids are over and I'm inside going to the bathroom or even if I'm outside with you and Elena is not being very nice, that you'll be like, hey Elena, that's not very nice. And just get after them because like as hard as we all try, like we can't be in all the places at once.
Be in all places at once.
And sometimes kids listen to other adults better than they listen to their own moms. So that is helpful.
Yeah, and it's just nice having friends or, you know, if you're really close with your siblings or something that they just like get it.
Yep. You don't have to explain it.
You don't have to explain yourself all the time, which is super, super nice.
Because it's exhausting.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, I've changed so much my mothering styles throughout the years. I mean, I've been a mom for 5 years now, and it's been different like every year, you know?
Well, and like the things that affected, like the idea of like seasons, right? You go through different seasons. And so like when your kids are little, you might have like one mothering technique works. And then as they get to be like preteens, you know, there's a different technique that's working. And like those seasons are going to evolve you too. Like not just the addition of children and not just like big changes in like work or life, like as far as like moving and stuff, but even just like their ages and the things like
the stuff that
your maturity as a parent, all of the changes. Like
and
I'm much better at coping with my anger than I was 4 years ago because I've been able to like label it and work on it and like I'm working with a therapist, right? All these things. But like who I was 4 years ago is very different than who I am now. And so, you know, as you evolve and go through those seasons, you change too, and that's okay. Like I hope everyone changes a little bit. I think change is good.
I think change is super important, especially when you're parenting kids who are growing.
Right. Like they're changing too.
They're growing, you're growing, and as you're becoming a parent more and stuff, like there's just so much change going on all the time.
For everybody.
And that's okay. You don't have to stay the same. You don't have to do the same crafts you did with the first kid that you did with the second kid. It's not going to work that way, you know, and that's okay. Give yourself some grace and just be okay with it.
Grace is like the word of parenting. Like so important. Like give yourself grace, give your kids some grace. Yeah. Teach your kids to give you grace.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, so we have a really good friend that we asked her if we could talk about this, so we got permission. Yeah. But one of our like really good friends, she is just completely like she cleans all the time. Like that's her thing, right? Yeah, she's like
very
her house
cleanly.
Is spotless. I've literally went to her house while she wasn't there to like pick up a shirt, and I think I texted you and I was like, I just want her house to be dirty, Alesha. I'm going there. She gave me the code to get in her house, and I'm gonna go pick up this shirt. And I had to go in her drawer, and all of her clothes were completely rolled and folded. Her bed was made
like Marie Kondo style.
I was like, what is this shit? Like,
okay, I'm gonna let you know right now, my bed is never made. I'm not a bed maker. It's just like Only if I'm cleaning the whole house, like,
Right.
do I make the bed.
Right, but like, and that's her thing. Like, everything is clean, everything has a place, everything. She's very like routine, you know. But she also doesn't judge if
No.
she comes to our house and it's a mess. You know what I mean? Like, she knows that about herself. That like, I'm the clean
I'm
mom.
the clean mom.
That sounds like we don't clean. I mean, we do.
I mean, I try. I have 3 kids and 2 dogs, like,
And a hedgehog.
and a hedgehog. I try.
But I think that's important too. Is we all 3 of us are so different, but we make a really good team.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Get a little
Where
trio.
someone else lacks, the other person is really good at,
Right.
and we just pull from that, and that's okay. I don't go to her house and like instantly start guilting myself about how I don't have a clean house like this. I don't fold my clothes like this. I don't have,
Right.
you know, perfect everything, but that's okay. Like, you know, that's not my thing.
And that's
so
totally
that's
fair.
okay.
Right.
And that's one thing we want to talk about with this mothering your own way is like, it's okay if someone else is different than you.
Absolutely.
You can still be friends with them as long as it all works for you.
Right,
You
like-
know, I'm not saying you have to be friends with people. You know, but
Do you, boo?
But yeah, it's okay to be a little bit different.
Absolutely. I think you can gain so much insight from like the differences that come from people, because like I know, like, we recently instituted like a calming corner at our house because like I really am working on my children being able to handle their emotions better than I do, or I did. Like, as I was growing up, I didn't handle them well, and so that's like a big goal of ours. So recently, same friend having some issues with her son who was having, you know, some difficulties with anger and stuff, which we went through just probably a year ago, and we had to like reach out to like our daughter's 4K teacher, and we were like, hey, you're in early childhood, can you
Yeah,
help us?
give us some insight.
Like, we were trying to do all the things. So like I was so glad that she trusted me with that, because then I was able to be like, hey, like, here's some ideas that like things that have worked for us. And then Nicole and I were able to like pull some stuff together to make a calming corner for them. And so like, because that was something that I had been through and I had learned, like, I was able to then share that with her,
Right.
and give her some tools, and like maybe they work and maybe they don't, but like, man, if she can take one thing that helps, that's worth it.
Yep, and we surprised her with it.
Yeah,
So it's just like one of those it's so nice to like give, you know, and just be able, like, if you can just surprise your friend with something, you know, that's important. I want you to talk about the Aldi car situation.
Oh, I forgot all
I
about
know you
that.
don't want to toot your own horn about this, and that's not what this is about. It's about, you know, I just think it's a really incredible story, and you can, you know, tell people how you handled it.
So we went to Aldi, I think it was like last week maybe, and I had taken my husband and my kids, like, they stayed in the car. I just went in to go get groceries, but we had another errand we were running, and I just didn't want to go by myself. And so we were at Aldi. I came out and I noticed that there was a cop parked behind this lady's car, and they were trying to get into it. And so I kind of stood there for a second trying to figure out like what was going on. And she had locked her son in the car. And like, I've done it. My son then rolled my arm up in the window, like, as I was trying to get in. Anyways, sorry. So I've been there, and I get it, right? It's terrible. And so the cop is trying to like get in to her car, and thank God the police were going to open it for her, because there's some police departments that won't open them anymore. So then you have to wait for a tow truck. It's like a whole thing.
And then you gotta pay that.
Right. It's a mess. And so I kind of sat there for a while, and I'm trying to see, like, is he able to get in? He's got a piece of wood that he's trying to like shove in the door to get the thing in, rather than those bags that like pump up. And so I'm on the phone with the hardware store down the street trying to see if like I can get one of those bags, because most hardware stores do carry them. And like, as I'm on the phone, like, he pops it open, and I was like, oh, thank God. Like,
And there's like people watching.
people watching everywhere, right? Because like, and I mean, I think it's human nature, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
you stop and you stare, because you're like, oh, what's going on? Is everybody gonna be okay? And like, you could hear the baby crying. He was probably about a year old. And so the cop's like trying to talk to him, like, it's okay, buddy. Like, he's just crying. So
Poor
as
mom.
soon
No,
as
and is anyone supporting the mom?
no,
Being like, Mom,
no,
it's okay.
no. And so like, I wanted to like get out and be like, hey, you're okay. But then I was like, it's COVID, and like, I don't know, maybe that'll make it worse. And so my thought was then, okay, so she got baby out of the car. She's going to do the police report thing, talk with them. I'm going to run to Dunkin', which is like right down the street.
Yeah.
And so I got myself a coffee, and then I got her just like a $5 gift card, and I went back down, and she had just finished up with the cops, and I like knocked on her window, and I was like trying to hand it to her, and she was like, that's not mine. And I was like, girl, I know, but you need this. So she rolls down her window, and I said, hey, I just wanted to let you know that, like, I've been there, and, like, you're still a good mom. Like, things like this happen. Like, don't beat yourself up about it. Like, I know that, like, that mom shame and that mom guilt is very, very real in those types of situations. And, like, it happens to all of us. And I'm pretty sure she was a first-time mom. She was fairly young. Her baby was young. She didn't have, like, other car seats in the car. And I said, you know, I have 3 kids, and, like, things like this still happen. Yeah. And so, like, I want you to know, like, you're a good mom. So I want you to go to Dunkin', and I want you to get yourself a coffee or a tea or something and take 5 minutes and breathe and tell yourself, like, I'm still a good mom. And so she's, like, crying. And so I'm like, okay, bye. Because, like, I'm going to start crying.
That was so kind, though, that you took that second to be like, to validate her and reassure her, you are a good mom. And you're the best mom that you can be for that baby right now. Like, it's okay. We all make mistakes. Like, this is not... The struggle's real. This is not a thing that's like, I shouldn't have kids because I just... No. Right. No, girl, like, it happens.
And like, parenting will happen is not for the
again,
weak.
Probably.
Like,
you know, it's fine.
Again, I have 3 kids. And, like... They've all had something happen to time.
Seriously.
Like, my youngest fell off a stool the other day and ended up with a black eye. And I was like, great. This is where we're at.
Kids. They're the worst and the best. I don't know. I'm still undecided about them.
They're great. Sometimes. Some days.
But yeah, it's important to be able to support each other. Even a stranger. Like, you know, you didn't know her.
Yeah. And I think, that's important. Have you read the stories about people at Target? And they'll be like, the lady in front of me's baby was crying, so I just offered to hold the baby. Like, again, I know we're, like, in a COVID world right now, and, like, things are weird. Yeah. But even if you can just, like, distract a kid for a minute by talking to him, like, hey, buddy, like, those are some great shoes. Like, so the mom can have a moment to pay her stuff or to, like, find her keys or, like, whatever it is. Like, sometimes those little things really, really can help.
Yes. And just supporting each other, so important, because... Like you said, everyone was concerned about baby, you know, and wondering how baby was doing, and no one was like, "Hey, are you okay?" To this mom, like, "You're okay."
That's like little T trauma. It is like that's really scary.
Is. Little T.
I had my boss one time told me that. She was like, "This is some little T trauma, girl. Are you okay?"
Oh my god!
And I was like, "Oh yes!" Like, thank you for labeling it, because like I totally hear that you're like, "No, it wasn't trauma," but like, hey, like sometimes it is trauma, and like that's okay. You can't see me, but I'm crossing my fingers and making a little T, and like. I think
little T trauma is important trauma.
Right, to acknowledge it, right? Because like if you don't acknowledge it, I think it just like can stay there inside.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, and the hard part about mom guilt is even if something didn't happen, like her baby was fine, but she probably is still thinking about it.
Oh,
what if it was hot? What if he suffocated?
What if the cops couldn't open it?
They couldn't open it? What if I forgot him and went into the store? And she'll probably dream about it because that's what we do. You 100%. Know, we just overthink. 100%. So maybe by you knocking on her door, you like snapped her out of that and was like, okay. I'm fine.
Baby's fine.
I'm a good mom. I'm gonna go get some coffee and take 5 minutes.
Right.
Because that's what
5 minutes for you.
Crazy lady told me to do.
Crazy lady's knocking on my door.
So, moral of the story: if you see a mom that is struggling, it's okay. It's okay to be like, hey, you're a good mom.
You're doing great.
I know it's COVID and you can't hug them and maybe hold their baby or something, but you can tell them, you can reassure them, you can use your words. Words are very powerful, especially to moms.
Yeah.
Especially to moms struggling.
Well, and I think because sometimes, like, we just don't hear it very often, right?
No.
Like, especially from people outside of, like, our immediate circle, you just don't hear that, hey, you're doing a great job.
I also think women are just more, like, vocal.
Oh, I love
it. You know,
give me the words of affirmation.
Yes. Like, that's my love language, too. 100%. Words of affirmation, 100%. It's definitely not my husband's. He hates words of affirmation. He really does. He finds them very awkward. I feel like it's more of a like...
Well, women, I think, just, like, communicate more verbally.
Right.
There's a lot of verbal communication for women.
So we just, like, talk more about things. And so, yeah, I think women don't always hear what they maybe need to hear.
Absolutely.
And so taking 2 minutes to be like, you're a good mom. You're doing it.
You're doing great.
You're doing fine. This is normal. It's okay.
Yep.
I say that a lot at births. Like, a lot.
I bet.
Especially to dads, honestly. Like, first-time dads that have never been in this before. And mom's just, like... having a really hard time coping, and I'm like, this is normal, this is all okay, she's doing great, and they're like, oh, okay,
right, because they just don't know.
Yeah,
right, and
even
they're like,
moms,
oh my god,
they're like,
this is wrong.
Okay, this is normal, and I'm like, yeah, this is totally, you're doing great, you got this,
you're rocking this birthing, girl, you got
it. And it's like a weight is released, you know, it's like, okay, it's normal, okay,
bro.
We're not struggling with it. Yeah, is that all we want to talk about?
I think that's pretty much everything, just to remind yourselves that, like, you know, it's okay if you mom different from other people, but like you can still support those other moms and other parents. I mean, it's not all moms, like everybody parents differently. but being able to support each other too. Like, I think at the end of the day is the most important, like whether or not you agree on discipline, whether or not you agree on the best way to have handled soda and whatever, you know, you can still support each other. And I think looking for those opportunities to support and to uplift other moms, other parents, other caregivers. I mean, shoot, even some nannies, like in the grocery store with a meltdown kid, sometimes they need to hear, hey, you're doing a great job.
You are doing good.
You're crushing it.
Yeah. I think we covered everything that we want to cover on that. I mean, I'm sure we'll still talk plenty about Momming Your Way, because that's just really important to me, to be who you are meant to be, and not try to be everyone to everything, because that's super exhausting and it just depletes your energy, you know, and 100%. you gotta save that energy, because your kids are gonna suck it out of you.
And I think also, like, and I know this is such a cliche, but like, comparison is the thief of joy. And so if you can't just like be like, have that contentment with who you are and like the things you do with your kids. So like, one thing we do a lot is we just like put food coloring in water and let the kids mix it, and they love it. They'll play with it for like an hour, and like, I just need to be content that like, for them, they're not realizing like, oh well, we could have been painting and we could have been hiking and we could have done this, that, and the next thing. Like, they're not thinking about that. They're literally only like, yeah, mom set up this awesome water table for us and we're mixing colors,
and it's only you comparing yourself to all those other people.
So if you can stop yourself before you get like, you know, past that point, I think that you know, that contentment.
Moral of the story: stop comparing yourself to other moms. And just be in the moment. Be loving on them, and just be you, because you're an amazing mom. You have got this. You're doing it.
Absolutely.
Yes. I agree. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and watch us on our YouTube channel.
Yep. And you can always subscribe. Hey, leave a comment or a review. That's always really helpful to help share us with other people so they see our stuff.
Yes.
And don't forget about that giveaway.
Yes.
The big one.
The Mud Love giveaway. Go to our Instagram. Make sure you do all the things that it says on there. We also have a big surprise we're going to talk about in the next podcast. So stay tuned, because we're super excited about it. So
it's going to be great.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good day. Bye.